Good morning. The October 7th Board of Education meeting is now in session. Please rise for the invocation. O God, we pray to administer that which is just in all educational policies, being ever mindful of your guidance, stir us to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. The Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2.03, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes 900. Item 2.04, establish agenda order, and the agenda stands as published. Item 2.05, board recognitions. We do not have any recognitions today. And item 2.06 is Educator of the Month, Mrs. Nally.
Good morning. Today we honor an educator in our school system who loves the direct impact she has on her students and for years has taken many youngsters from good to great. Lisa Moylan, 5th grade teacher at Annapolis Elementary, is truly a positive role model and mentor for the students in her classroom, where all students are accepted and held to high expectations. She embraces the Kids at Hope philosophy and has worked with some of the school's neediest students. Lisa closely monitors student data and sets goals with students to encourage personal growth. She collaborates with colleagues to differentiate instruction for exactly what each student needs. She is a member of the school improvement team, leadership team, and has provided professional development to connect data to instruction. Mrs. Moylan makes significant contributions to Annapolis Elementary every day, although the most significant contribution was the role she played during the school's recent renovation. Taking the initiative in the school's Historic Preservation Committee, Lisa worked with Design and Print, as well as outside community organizations, to research the history of Annapolis Elementary School, the oldest school in our state. Her dedication to this research project resulted in an amazing history board, which graces the foyer of the school, complete with 36 entries ranging from 1783 to 2014. The timeline features interesting facts and figures, including the original name of the school, Annapolis Grammar School. Lisa is now working on a display in the school's media center using pictures and artifacts from the past to show the students their school's history. Mrs. Moylan's influence extends well past the schoolhouse as she builds positive relations with students, families, and community members. She leads Girls on the Run After School Club in partnership with the Naval Academy, Midshipmen. She also visits students after school at the Stanton Center and is a well-respected teacher in the community. The students, teachers, and staff love Mrs. Moylan for many reasons, but most of all for her passion and enthusiasm, which comes across in everything she does. She is a lifelong learner, always striving to improve her craft as an educator and leader among her colleagues. Lisa Moylan, you foster a classroom environment where students are respected and accepted for risk-taking. You make learning memorable, relevant, and fun. The entire school community is thankful for your hard work and many contributions over the years to Annapolis Elementary School. So on behalf of the Board of Education, the students, teachers, and staff of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, I recognize and honor you, Educator of the Month for October 2015. Congratulations. Please join me up front. Not over yet. Well, congratulations. On the behalf of the board, we'd like to present you with this certificate and this bell. And I have a special ties to Annapolis Elementary as my 3 grandchildren go there. So This is exciting, and I want to thank you for everything you do. How did they get you here today? What lie did they tell you?
I was told I was coming to talk about quarterly assessments.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, do you have any pearls of wisdom on quarterly assessments?
They're great. Thumbs
Oh.
up.
Well, thank you. And who is with you today? I see a lot of...
This is my family and my teammates. So,
And I
yes,
see your
it's cool.
former principal?
Former principal, my new principal, yes.
New
so
principal,
I'm
all the
thrilled.
principals here?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm shocked. So thank you so much for coming.
Well,
guys. Appreciate it.
congratulations,
Thank you
and
so
I thank you
much.
very,
Thank you
very much
much.
for all that you do.
Thank you.
And if you could hang around till our break, we're going to do some pictures afterwards. Item 2.07 is Employee of the Month, Mr. Horskamp.
More than 50 years ago, during the John F. Kennedy administration, Congress, by joint resolution, designated the week beginning on the second Sunday in October each year as National School Lunch Week. And to celebrate that upcoming special day next Sunday, the board would like to honor an employee in our school system who dedicates her career to healthy nutrition in the schoolhouse. Corey Talbot, food service manager at Glen Burnie High School, is an exceptional employee and an incredible asset to her school. Last year, in response to an initiative of State Superintendent Lowry's Maryland Breakfast Program, Corey assisted the school in implementing the Second Chance Breakfast Program. Before initiating the program, the school served an average of 132 students for breakfast. With the addition of the program, the number jumped approximately to 395 students when combining totals from breakfast served before school and during Second Chance Breakfast. That is a significant increase in the total amount of breakfasts served. In addition to the total amount of students served, an average of 76% of those students receive free or reduced lunch. The impact of the program is remarkable. Due to Corey's innovative thinking, Glenbury can now ensure that all the students have access to a healthy breakfast, which research shows helps fuel the mind for academic success. Corey has promoted many other positive changes within the school. Examples of her leadership and hard work include creating a rotating schedule of health-conscious menus, a delivery option for staff members to pre-order lunch, student surveys to include a student voice in lunch options, pullable kiosks around campus, and a reduction of prices on a la carte items to offer inexpensive alternatives for students. Corey has changed the perception of the typical food manager to a school staff member who is fully integrated with the school community. Moreover, she is a leader who has helped the entire school understand the importance of eradicating hunger one student at a time. Corey's contributions to Glen Burnie High School are countless and so worthy of acknowledgement. She is a consummate professional and treats all her staff members and students with the utmost respect. Corey Talbot, you epitomize all that is expected in an Anne Arundel County Public Schools employee. The relationships you have developed with all your colleagues have helped you earn the deep respect that others have for all your hard work that goes into managing food services. So for these reasons and more, the Board of Education is pleased to recognize you Employee of the Month for October 2015. Congratulations, and can you join me up front? So we have a nice certificate here for you, and a really nice bell.
I would use that.
So happy to get you here today.
They just told me I might have to answer some questions about Second Chance Breakfast, so.
Did you bring anything special?
Well, my husband just showed up, and also Ms. Hartford from Glen Burnie High School. She's one of the administrators, so yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 2.08 is Volunteer of the Month, Mrs. Ritchie.
Thank you. Many of our wonderful Anne Arundel County Public School volunteers assist students or initiate successful fundraisers or organize family involvement events or coordinate staff appreciation lunch or provide copy and laminating services for the office and teachers or inspire other parents to volunteer. Jacobsville Elementary School boasts a rare school volunteer who typically tends to all of these tasks, often in the same day. Miss Lisa Collins, you are an exceptional volunteer, and so today the Board of Education is proud to honor you as our October Volunteer of the Month. Jacobsville reading teacher Tara Kohler explained that Lisa didn't hesitate to volunteer in her son's kindergarten classroom 5 years ago, and she soon found herself on the PTA board, where she remains today. As a PTA board member, Lisa Collins has served for several years as chair of the Race for Education, the PTA's sole and very successful fundraiser that provide additional novels for the students students classroom supplies for teachers, enriching cultural arts assemblies, and smart boards for the classroom. Lisa is busy at the school throughout each school day. Before the morning bell, she quizzes students' reading comprehension during the Chessie Club reading program. Her next stop is the Jaguar Market, where students cash in their earned PBIS Jaguar dollars for supplies and prizes. Then she's on to the office and teacher's work area to assist with clerical duties. During the afternoons and evenings, Lisa is a fixture at family involvement events and PTA meetings. As volunteer coordinator, Lisa continues to bridge the gap between home and school, building the volunteer program, ensuring everyone feels welcome to the school. Last Thanksgiving, Lisa coordinated volunteers to prepare and cook a full Thanksgiving feast for the entire staff at Jacobsville Elementary. Far from viewing this as an inconvenience, Lisa seized the opportunity to show the administrators, teachers, and staff members how much they were appreciated. She enlisted parents for food preparation and even inspired students to serve dinner, dressed in their Sunday best. Lisa's warmth, creativity, and organizational skills ensure a wonderful time for all staff and volunteers. Ms. Kohler adds, Lisa has generously donated over 1,000 hours to the Jacobsville Elementary School and community, for which we are truly grateful. Thank you, Mrs. Collins. Would you please come forward? With great appreciation, I'd like to present you with this Volunteer of the Month certificate and bell. You got to be real careful because I was October Volunteer of the Month. I laminated. I didn't fix the Thanksgiving dinner, but you see where I'm sitting now, right?
I see that.
All right, congratulations. And how'd they get you here today?
I'm not sure. I was flying yesterday. Mrs. Atkinson invited me to come on. We were supposed to talk about the new curriculum.
Oh, okay.
And maybe a parent's perspective on the new curriculum.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'd like to hear that eventually, but right now we have to honor what you're doing. And we have this gorgeous bell for you, and I saw some people coming
love
in
this.
and stuff. And, yeah.
Thank
Who's
you.
in here with you today?
My husband, my parents, my son. I asked Mrs. Atkinson, who was our principal, if it was an excused absence. She said yes.
Yeah, we probably get a note written or something.
Yeah.
You know people.
Well, thank you.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you very
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Item 2.09 is school and community highlights. Mrs. Nally.
Well, our board members are not only busy with the school board, but all of us are very active in the community in other volunteer opportunities. And one of the things that I do, I'm a member of the Severn Town Club, and each year we host a holly ball that supports various charities. Yesterday afternoon, members of our group visited the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis, and that is going to be our local charity that we are going to support for our annual ball held November 20th. I was so impressed when I got there. I had not visited the Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis. There are 6 Boys and Girls Clubs in Anne Arundel County. Didn't realize that. But when we arrived and we were taken on a tour of the building, the activities that I saw our children participating in were amazing. I saw computers. I saw midshipmen there volunteering. I saw grandparents and others volunteering. I saw staff members just doing so much. This club and all of them are open till 7 p.m. During the time, which time they're given help with homework, they're given support. They're also given a meal. We watched them eat, serving dinner, and it looked really good. Fried chicken and everything. So it was great. But it just made me so proud of what our community, and I looked into the facility and I saw all of the various donations from folks who have contributed to make this such a wonderful facility. They also have a program and collaborate with our public school system for after school for students who have been suspended, and to help them mentoring and redirect them during their days of suspension. And that program will begin again at the end of this semester. So over and over again, I just want to thank the Boys and Girls Clubs for what they do for our communities, and thank our citizens for the support, and encourage you all to come to our Holly Ball. We raised quite a bit last year for our Anne Arundel County Medical Center, and so we hope to do just as well this year for the celebrating the children for our annual fundraiser. Thank you.
Mrs. Summer.
Thank you. The past couple of weeks, I went to the ribbon cuttings for the newly renovated Crofton Elementary and Mills Parole Elementary, and what beautiful buildings, just gorgeous. And both schools gave wonderful presentations. And I'll say that I didn't know the history behind Mills Parole, and I was just in awe of that community and how historic and what an impact they've had on our entire county. And the building is just beautiful. So I encourage folks to go out there and see. And thank you to all the folks from the school system who are involved in completing those projects, because they're wonderful. Last night I came and attended the annual Arts Council of Anne Arundel County, had their showcase here at the board meeting for schools to take a look at artists that they could bring in to the school system. And I have been going to that for years and love it. There were magicians and dancers and puppets and little of everything, and it was a great time. The Arts Council is a wonderful supporter of the arts programs here in the schools, and I encourage all the teachers that are here and parents. The deadline for the grants from the Arts Council to bring things into your school is October 22nd, so apply. They are so generous, and that can help you bring in some wonderful groups to your communities. I mean, we've done it every year at my children's elementary school, and we're so grateful to the Arts Council and how supportive they are of our school system. So thank you.
Mrs. Burge.
I also had the opportunity to go to the Crofton opening, and it was wonderful. I attended Crofton Elementary myself, and what do you know, it was the 1970s and 80s, and it was overcrowded. And now it's beautiful, and it was really a pleasure to be there that day. I also wanted to mention that I am currently serving on a statewide task force to study the implementation of a dyslexia education program, and just wanted to make everyone aware of that, both on the board and in the public, in case they have any comments or thoughts that they want to give to me. I'm serving as the representative for the Maryland Association of Boards of Education. So we're hopefully going to be giving a report to the legislature by December. If we're not ready, we'll be asking for a June extension, but we're meeting almost weekly right now. So it's some hard work looking at what's going on around the country in that area, and we're hoping to figure out some great ways to support all of our students. So thank you.
I just wanted to add that the board had an opportunity last week to go to some professional development at the annual MABE conference the Maryland Association of Boards of Education puts on. And we were supposed to stay through Friday, but Hurricane Joaquin evicted us from the conference a little bit early. They asked us to close up shop around Thursday at 2 and head home for safety, but turned out to be a little bit of a false alarm. But we were really enjoyed the time that we had and the sessions that we were able to attend while we were out there. I also am very excited today to announce that the board has received some seed money for an endowment to start the Teach for Anne Arundel Scholarship. And this is a project we've been working on really since the beginning of this calendar year to try and build an endowment fund so that we can send one of our AACPS students, at least one. The more endowment we have, the more we can send. But we want to send one or more AACPS students to college to become a teacher so that they can come back and teach for us. So we are very grateful. We had some donors who wish to remain anonymous plant the seed money, and we are going to work over the rest of this school year to try to raise at least $250,000 so that we can start awarding the scholarship each year to students from AACPS who want to become teachers. So help us get the word out, and there'll be a link that will be live after our meeting for people who wish to donate personally. Okay. Item 2.10 is the CAC report.
Good morning, Dr. Arlotto, President Korvalak, and the boards. I'm Karma O'Neill, Chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee. You're stuck with me again for another year. We held our first meeting of our year on September 8th, and the CAC welcomed 11 new energetic members to the committee, and we discussed topics relevant to the county school system. Based on feedback from the school clusters, committee members, and board members, we've formed the following committees. Testing, including the HB 740 issues, homework, redo, and grading policy, and curriculum changes. Several committees formed last year will continue to work on better communication plans, analyzing school supply lists and school student expenses, and expanding the equity outreach. It's very important for our committee members to feel productive and needed, and we hope that you join us in getting us to that point. The committee is ready to tackle all board issues and topics, and we're here to assist you. So thank you.
Thank you guys for all you do for us. We'll take a short break now for photos with our Employee Educator and Volunteer of the Month. go ahead with the public comment portion of the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak on an item not on today's agenda may offer testimony during this public comment portion. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes each, and the board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing the meeting. Student-specific, personnel matters, or confidential cannot be discussed in this forum. This time is intended for speakers to voice their opinion and not necessarily as a question and answer period. Speakers may pose questions, but answers will be counted toward the 3-minute allotment. For the record, please give your name before speaking, and any handouts can be given to our board assistants. I have 6 completed cards. Will Mimi Shea, Eugene Peterson, William Rowell, Reverend Stephen Tillett, Carl Snowden, and Janet Norman come up? And you all can sit or stand at the podium, whatever you prefer. Okay, Ms. Shea.
Hello, my name is Mimi Shea, and I'm a parent of a 5th grader and a 9th grader in your schools. I am here today because I have on numerous occasions tried to find out how to help influence the upcoming school calendars. I have been told that it's a small group and they meet to decide the calendar in October for the year following. And basically there's no way for a parent or group of parents to influence the calendar decisions. I am here to respectfully request that we figure out a way to have fewer days off during the school year so we can get out of school earlier in June. Our kids have less and less downtime and time to relax and be kids. They're more and more overprogrammed, and as we cut into their summers, they have even less time to be creative and just be kids. I know we've added more snow days and more teacher in-service days, and this accounts for most of the add-on days. However, other schools around the country seem to get all these things in without sacrificing important summer vacation. Having a long Thanksgiving break, a long break at Christmas, the long week and a half of testings in January, and then a long Easter break means that during the most critical learning time of the year, our kids are seemingly barely in school. Then when June comes, they're all tired of being in school, and for the elementary ages, the last week of school seems to be just a lot of parties and movies. This seems like a waste of our June. Most of my friends around the country either start after Labor Day and go to the 3rd week in June, or they start before Labor Day and get out by Memorial Day. My friends can't understand why we go early and stay late. For those parents with kids in high school sporting, many of their practices now start the 1st week in August. This just cut our summer another 3 weeks. Frankly, this is one of the main reasons my kids don't do high school sports. I'm not sacrificing our kids' family trips or time off for a school sport that starts in the summer. I'm not alone in wanting fewer days off during the year. I did a poll of my friends, and almost all of them would prefer longer summer versus these days off during the year. One of my friends, who's a middle school department chair, said, "Get rid of the full-day teacher in-service days throughout the year. Most of the teachers do not get time to work on grades anyway." I know these days are union regulated, so we probably won't be able to change them, but this is just an example that some of the teachers agree there are too many days off during the year. I have quite a few other teacher friends who agree but didn't want to be named. In addition, this is important, the current schedule is actually biased against working parents who have to figure out childcare during these random days off during the year. It's much easier for a parent to find care for longer summer block than random days throughout the year. Please consider shortening the calendar for the next year that's coming up for approval, 16-17, or at the very least 17-18. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that you saw our press release yesterday with the calendar. Okay, so please share that with your parents, your parent friends as well. Mr. Peterson.
Good morning, President Korbelak, members of the board, and Superintendent Arlotto. For the record, my name is Eugene Peterson. I reside at 3534 Rippling Way in Laurel, Maryland, and I have other contact information that will be in my statement that I will give to the support staff here, your support staff. As you are aware, I sat as a member of the County Board of Education for 10 years. During my time on the board, we dealt with many issues that impacted students, parents, and the public at large. I'm here today to ask some questions about something that happened at Severn River Middle School during the first week of school. As has been reported in the press, the school district shut down Blackboard, a district website used by staff, students, and parents after racial, homophobic, and other offensive language was reported by a parent and found on the website. As a member of the Caucus of African American Leaders, and I would ask other members of the caucus to stand up now, please, so you can show that we're here. Thank you. In Anne Arundel County, I'm requesting that you provide in writing answers to the following questions. They can be sent to me so that they may be shared with the caucus or Dr. Arlotto, as you agreed. You can come to one of our quarterly meetings and you can address these questions and other issues that pertain to Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Number one, was a letter sent out to all parents of students at the middle school detailing what happened and what steps are being taken to ensure that a breach of your websites will never happen again. In the past, when I was a member of the board, as I recall, this would have been standard protocol. To date, there has been no public comment from either the board president or the superintendent condemning this incident and stating that this kind of action on the part of any individual will not be tolerated. Such a statement or statements would go a long way to ensure the public that the school district is serious about rooting out prejudice when it appears in any form in the district. And this is something that we have heard from folks in the community. They want to hear from you on this issue. The school district has indicated that the county police department has been contacted and is involved in investigating the matter. Has a similar request to investigate this matter as a potential hate crime been lodged with the state's attorney's office? If not, why not? Please understand that these questions are not being raised to say that the caucus believes that the superintendent and the board are not committed to a bias-free educational environment or that any of you condone what happened at Severn River Middle School. You are all decent and well-meaning people who have the best interest of our students, parents, and the community at heart and do an exemplary job providing a caring and nurturing environment in which our children can succeed and thrive. We just believe that the community needs to know what concrete steps you are taking to ensure that what happened at Severn River Middle School never happens again. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Mr. Rao?
President, Board, my name is William Rao. I'm also a member of the Caucus of African American Leaders. I reside at 2134 Mulberry Hill Road, Annapolis, Maryland. Before I begin, I would like to say my representation. I come as a parent and also a product of Severn River Middle School, which is the school where this occurred. And I also have another daughter who went to Severn River Middle School, who's now in high school at Broadneck. And I was vice president of the student government at Severn River, so I don't know if that helps. But in all seriousness, this incident occurred on the first day of school. And what we do know is that when things like this happen, they are talked about and gossiped about at the student level, at the administrator level, and then in the general public. So what happens when these types of things occur is rather than be able to ensure that this won't happen again, but also just get accurate information out to parents and accurate information out to students, what happens is it gets lost. So I'm coming to you today to just state my, I don't want to use any really strong words, but to state my, I guess I could say astonishment that here we are in October, and as a parent, I have not heard anything about this incident. I happen to know intimately because I've seen the actual screenshot of what was put on there. And also because I have a daughter who goes there. And I tend, like most parents I would hope, to communicate with my child. I tend to share information, and I tend to teach them the things that they need to know about surviving and navigating in this world, in particular in the educational system, because my expectation is that my children will matriculate. They won't stay at middle school, but they'll go to high school, then they'll go to college, and then they'll go to graduate school, and then they'll start paying my bills. But this is a very serious matter because, by definition, it is a hate crime. So what we can do is we can minimize that and we can belittle that and make it something else. But the actuality is it is a hate crime because it threatens a protected group of people, whether it is a woman, whether it is someone by their gender, whether it is someone by their sexual orientation, religion, or race. And that's one thing that we're very clear about. So I think it needs to be looked at, and I think we need a comment. I think our county needs a comment from you all as leaders to dictate how we move with this. I have some recommendations that I'll end with, and I think that when it comes to providing equitable education, equitable services, and equitable representation, what we want to do is we want to develop partnerships, not only with parents and those people who are on the payroll, but I would like for you all to develop partnerships with students as they relate to families. So I have a family, and my family goes to different schools, but they're receiving different information. And I have neighbors also who are families. And if I have a neighbor who I know very well, and they also have children that go to the school, and they know nothing about this, but I happen to be African American, so it's perceived as an attack. It's perceived as, race baiting or saying, hey, this is an issue that we need to deal with because I'm black. It is not a black issue. It is an issue of the safety of our children, and it is an issue of a right to have information about something that may endanger them. So this particular hate crime wasn't just directed to African Americans. I want to reiterate that. It is directed to a line of what I would call people who can be threatened and who are perceived as weak in the school environment. And that has to be nipped in the bud. It has to be made. And in actuality, think about this. Think about the beauty of this. And I know my time is just... The beauty of this is it is the first day of school, right? So it cannot be any more symbolic. It is the first day of school. You're coming back to school. This happens. So what you need to do is, or what my recommendation is, you use this as an example to say, moving into this next school year, where we sit and where we stand is we will not tolerate it, and there are specific steps and protocol that we follow as a board that ensures the safety of those who are underneath us.
And we will share a little bit about that when we hear from the rest of your colleagues.
Thank you.
Reverend Tillett.
Good morning. Stephen Tillett, President of the Anne Arundel County Branch, NAACP. I'm also here to express my concern about the situation that occurred at Severn River Middle School and some what I believe are related issues. Do understand that we can't just suppress it or ignore it and it'll go away. As William said, this happened the first day of school. It's almost as if, well, let's set the tone, the negative tone, the first day of school for certain portions of our school community. And you have to know that that's absolutely unacceptable. But what's more unacceptable to me is the silence. I know we've seen an article here and there and what the police are doing, but the silence from this board, from this superintendent. I'm especially concerned about the silence from three people that I would expect to say something if no one else. My good fraternity brother, who's a board member, the deputy superintendent of schools, or the director of the Office of Equity. If nobody else said anything, I would expect the three of you all to have something to say about it. And then this business of trying to track down who it is. I'm sure that there's some parent connected to the students at Severn River Middle School that works at the NSA and could probably answer that question for you in 3 minutes. Or if not that, there's probably some, to use the terms they use, a nerd or a geek in one of our schools who could figure out what the electronic footprint was in 2 or 3 minutes and tell you who it is so that you can respond to it, take action, and make sure that you make an example of those people. I'm not saying they should be expelled and tarred and feathered, but they do need to be dealt with in a public way so that that signal is sent to everyone else that that's not acceptable. I think that that is also that perhaps it did not receive the institutional pushback that it could have had because of another problem that we're having in the system right now, that we are hemorrhaging African American leadership at the senior levels of this system. That we've lost almost 24 people who have left this system, who were on the central office staff, some principals and whatnot, some who frankly have felt forced to retire, marginalized, sent to a closet somewhere or to work at the warehouse, others who have fled to other systems by their own testimony. But when you lose qualified, skilled, talented people at the highest levels, again, that creates an environment where something like this can go unremarked and undealt with. So it is our hope that after today, you all will be more intentional in responding to this and then letting us know what you found out dealing with those people in a public way so that ideally this never happens again. Thank you.
Mr. Snowden.
Good morning. We're here to officially serve notice that we intend not to tolerate taxpayers' dollars being used to subsidize systemic racism in any manner. Our concerns are not just about racist rantings on the blackboard, but we're concerned about ensuring that the school system employees reflect the community that they serve. We're not satisfied that there is more black janitors than black teachers. We're not satisfied with the fact that the achievement gap is not closing fast enough. Frankly, looking at some recent scores, we're moving in the wrong direction. In my opinion, it's time for the school board to look very seriously at what are we going to do to address bringing true equity to the school system. In summary, it's not about the rhetoric. I am sure that before it is over with, we will hear people say we're committed to equity. We're committed to seeing to it that all students achieve. But the bottom line is not what you say, but what you do. And we're going to be now asking and holding accountable the school system to do what it was designed to do, which is to provide quality education to all students. Public dollars create public servants. We, the taxpayers, have a right to demand accountability on how our tax dollars are being spent. And quite frankly, quite candidly, we don't like it. The results are not what we are paying for. There are many, many people making very good salaries, which we applaud, but we're not getting the bang for the dollar that we're looking for, the bang for the buck. So in summary, as I close, I want to emphasize to Dr. Olato, we want a partnership that moves us forward. I don't get the sense that we have that partnership. I don't get the sense that we've got the commitment. Eugene mentioned to you about the quarterly meetings, which you are committed to becoming part of. We've got no communication from you but the next quarterly meeting, which you had agreed to do. And I just think it's very important that beyond the racist renting, that we really seriously begin to focus on how we're going to move this community forward. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this time.
Do you want to address them first? Yeah, we're going to address the last four speakers first.
Thank you, Mrs. Korbelak. So thank you all for coming in this morning and sharing your concerns. It has, so the public is aware, as the information about the Seven River Middle School situation occurred, and we got word of it from the parent of the student that saw the site, within hours, our team had jumped on the situation. The site was brought down. Blackboard was contacted, and lots of things have gone on. We don't have the ability to contact NSA to reach out into the community for us. Thank you for the suggestion, but we can't do that. But our team was able to contact Blackboard. We got the Blackboard site shut down. We were able to determine where on the site. It was not a common place on the site for a student that's searching for their homework where they would find this degrading posting that was there. It was something that had to sort of be looked for. And so we were able to talk with that parent, both from the central office level as well as the school was able to talk with the parent about what they saw and what they knew. We began our investigation immediately after, as I said, shutting down the site, and then we involved the police department. One of the information from the police department was that they asked that we not put the word out on this as they began their investigation, because of and I can't speak to the technical side of how electronic investigations go, but they wanted us to just lay low while they went ahead and conducted their investigation. That investigation is ongoing. My understanding, the police department has also involved other agencies through the process, and I'm going to let them do their work. I assure you, if that for you, the gentleman in front of me, and the general public listening in and that are here today, that if I have the ability to discipline somebody from my vantage point based on this and based on the outcome of the investigation, I will certainly do that. I will absolutely do that. I don't have any reach into any of the investigative part. We've turned that over to them. I know they've involved other agencies, and we're going to allow them to do their work. We talked about a letter. I'm not going to answer questions. I'm sorry, Reverend Tillett. You had your chance. Now I'm going to speak, right? The reason we didn't put a letter out, and it was not protocol that we would put a letter out on every instance when you were a board member, our protocol has remained the same over the years, that we put letters out that affect the entire community of a school if there was something that disrupted the school day. Our understanding was that it was a single family household that knew about this. We talked to the parent in that household, and if they discussed it with other people, they may have, but we talked to the principal and other members of that team there, and we weren't able to determine that it was a widespread knowledge. And at the time, if we put a letter out, we would have had more questions than we had answers to. So when the investigation's over, I'm glad to communicate anything and everything we have through this process, because we don't want it to happen again. I do very much appreciate your comments, Mr. Rowell, that we don't want this to happen again in any way, shape, or form, particularly because it happened through a Blackboard site that was associated with the school. Right. And so we don't want it to happen again. We have been working with Blackboard to make sure that that part of the site where somebody accessed to post this hate information can't be accessed anymore by anybody. Blackboard has brought that piece down, and then we've been able to bring Blackboard back up for the entire school system with this new piece. So we are very, very sorry and really sick about the fact that this occurred. But we have followed our protocols. I am confident that we've done everything that we can on our end to make sure that it couldn't happen again immediately, and that the investigation is ongoing. And I'm going to let those authorities do their work.
Is the Blackboard, I don't answer, because this is just right on what you said. So the Blackboard, when it goes back up, has it gone back up yet? Okay.
It was up within 24 hours.
Right. So my concern is in the future.
Once we brought it down,
right.
We got them to shut down that little piece of it where the posting was.
Right.
And then we brought it back up to the school system.
Right. So in the future, or moving forward, what would be helpful is some type of messaging on there that says this site is intended for educational purposes, X, Y, and Z. You know, negative comments, hate stuff, or whatever is not tolerated. Something along those lines would even suffice to any parents who have knowledge of this. Because just bringing it back up and saying it exists again does not deal with, you all know how hate works. I don't have to tell any of you. You all know how this stuff works. It's like a bacteria. It happens, it festers and it grows in darkness, you know, where there is no light and no oxygen. So the problem is, if we can't be proactive and say, hey, you know, like this makes an excellent opportunity to say this will not be tolerated, this type of behavior as we move forward. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your comments and suggestions. I just want to reiterate that we are not suppressing or ignoring anything. We're following the instructions of the police. And
That's not something I'm going to discuss here. You and I have had a chance to talk on a number of occasions. That's not something for this general public to talk about, whether I'm going to appear before the caucus. Because you've asked me to. That's not going to be part of this conversation.
I just want to reiterate that we don't have any legal authority to arrest or bring to trial people who are participating in criminal activity, and we trust that the people who do will do the right thing. And I've been in contact with Mr. Peterson about this. Hadn't had a chance to talk to you guys, but we were asked to let the police do their work.
And I understand that and respect that. I just would reiterate that I asked for the responses in writing, so I would like to get them in writing.
Thank you.
Honoring what the police said was that included even making a statement about it, not getting into the weeds or the details of it, but just to say we're aware of it, it's reprehensible, blah, 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 and the police investigate. They didn't want you to do that.
Correct.
Because then the perpetrator knows that somebody's onto them. And I don't know all the right terminology, but they wanted this to say so they can conduct their investigation, their electronic investigation.
Understood. Okay.
Mr. Webb? Mrs. Norman?
Dr. Arlotto, President Korblack, and members of the board, thank you very much for your time and consideration. I'm also here to talk about the achievement gap. I came home last Tuesday from work about 6 o'clock, and my driveway was blocked by a police cruiser from the Annapolis Police Department and 5 officers on foot. They were on the chase for an observed drug dealer with an outstanding gun warrant. To my dismay, I knew the suspect as a polite young boy who had played football in my yard with my sons. And now, at age 17, his life is likely doomed. He's a lost educational opportunity, as are many who were arrested in the Annapolis heroin bust, age 23, 18, 19, 19, 22, 23, 21, 20, 49, 26, 26, 25, 18, 22, and 22. These kids had all been in our county high schools very recently. You've had much evidence before about the advantages that later high school start time will have for our most disadvantaged students. As you go into your upcoming workshop on how to implement this, I'm hoping that you retain a laser-like focus on your mission. I recently ran into another man just yesterday that I'd known through his job. He's a tall African-American man in his late 30s, early 40s with a lovely young family. He's a youth basketball coach, and he told me he went to Annapolis High. I asked him if he had been on the high school basketball team, and he said no, he was in high school for academics, and he went on to college. All of his friends on the high school basketball team, none of them had gone on to college. So as you are considering your options of how to reconfigure the bus schedule for the best learning opportunity for our students, I want you to focus not on, when Susie's ballet lesson can be accommodated and when JV field hockey teams can get to their games, but on your exact mission. Your exact mission. It is the mission of Anne Arundel County Public Schools to educate all of our students to be well prepared for college and the workforce, and to empower them to create a better quality of life for themselves, their communities, and the next generation. So too many in our community are going into the alternate economy of drugs and crime because they're not getting the education they need to get to be successful. I refer you to Simon Sinek's YouTube video of why people don't people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so as you go in, remember that we're not just hauling garbage around in a 3-tiered system. We're hauling young, developing minds. It's not about being the most efficient. It's about being there for their brains. And you have to be so strong. That's my stop. You have to be so focused on why you are doing this, not about the details of what, but you have to sell it to the community of why you are doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more completed cards. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board at this time?
Good morning.
Hi.
My name is Lisa Howard. This is my son, Rodney Howard. And I'm here to discuss the case regarding the appeal for tuition waiver for my son, Rodney.
Unfortunately, we can't talk about appeals cases here in a public forum because it's a student-specific or personnel matter. Can we...
I'll ask that. Would the Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Liverman, and Ms. Pellin, would you go out with the parents so you can understand the concerns?
Because we're actually like your appeals court, so we would have to wait until the day of the hearing to hear from you, or we wouldn't be allowed to hear your case.
Okay, I was told that a decision was going to be made tomorrow, so I wanted to be able to comment on that.
Then if you did a paper appeal, we would be reading your file. If you...
So...
But any information that you want to share with them, you can share with the Deputy Superintendent and the Assistant Superintendent, and I'll make sure that the board gets that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't have any other cards or people that wish to speak, so we'll move on to our action items. Item 4.01 is administrative personnel appointments. Dr. Arlato, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that the board approve the actions as stipulated on the attached sheets.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Item 4.02 is personnel. Dr. Arlato, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that the personnel listed on the attached sheet be promoted and or appointed. Excuse me.
All those in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Item 4.03 is an information to action item, the Farmington School Site right-of-way dedication. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action? All those in favor? Dr. Arlato, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend approval of the Farmington School Site right-of-way dedication.
Second.
Is there any board questions or comments? Is there any public comment? All those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. Our next item is a review item 5.01, award of contracts. Is there any board comments or questions? Is there any public comment? Okay. And our last item on the agenda, 6.01, is a consent item, award of contracts. This is an information to action item. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action?
Second.
All
those in favor? Dr. Arlato, your recommendation?
Yes, ma'am. I recommend the board award contract number 16-0445, security cameras, equipment, and services to LensSec LLC in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? All those in favor? Motion passes 9-0. I just have a couple of announcements. The next Board of Education meeting will be Wednesday, October 21st here at 7 p.m. The next Board Policy Committee meeting is Wednesday, October 14th at 1 p.m. The next Board Budget meeting, Board Budget Committee meeting is Wednesday, October 21st at 4:30 p.m. And the board will be holding a public workshop on school start and dismissal times at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 20th in the boardroom. No public testimony will be taken at the workshop. The public is welcome to attend. Mrs. Nally.
I'd like to move that the board go into closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter, and to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to the negotiations.
All those in favor? All right, that adjourns the open portion of our meeting. The board's now in closed session. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we're going to do our picture.
Congratulations to the volunteer of the month.
God knows you're so
Yes, you may.